Thank you, Mr. President. I didn't intend to speak on Senate Bill 1, but as the Minority Chairman of the Senate Finance Committee for the past 4 or 5 years dealing with this issue, I felt that on this momentous occasion it warranted that I speak on this bill. I think I first have to talk about me, and then I'll talk about us. I struggled with this a little bit. In fact, I was a no vote in appropriations because I needed to wrap my head around a few things. Number one, knowing that there were other ideas, good ideas, that were not included in the debate on this bill, other things that may have had greater impact on the Commonwealth's finances, both general fund-wise and unfunded liability-wise. But Senator Corman is right. We can't wait around for the perfect if we could obtain some good. I think that, for me, I needed to read the IFO report a little bit deeper and wrap my head around what Senate Bill 1 really is in comparison to the 4 priority conditions of State Senate Democrat pension reform criteria, which I've talked many times on this floor about. I came to the conclusion that we've dug this hole and that maybe it's time we stop digging. You know, that maybe we do need to just start the correction as best as we can do so, and I had to take into consideration the 5-party agreement and the negotiations that led to Senate Bill 1 being voted off this floor today. I think it's important, Mr. President, to remember what the Senate Democratic Caucus priorities were for state pension reform. Number one, don't impair contract of our existing employees or pensioners. Senate Bill 1 does not impair contract. We wanted to make sure that we didn't exacerbate the situation by blowing up our unfunded liability or adding to our unfunded liability by making a bad policy move. Senate Bill 1 doesn't do that. We wanted to provide a reasonable retirement security for our future workers. I'm a little concerned on this point, but you've heard Senator Brown make an argument on the retirement security for our workers. Our employees have already really done their part, Mr. President. The employees took about a 20 to 25% cut in benefits when we did Act 120 of 2010, and there is another cut in benefits for future workers in this plan. I worry about that in recruiting talent, recruiting teachers. But I also know that our workforce is different now than it was 30 years ago, and that the idea of flexibility and options is more attractive to a new worker, and Senate Bill 1 does provide that. The other thing we wanted, Senate Democrats wanted, was state pension reform that would provide relief to our general fund and perhaps to our school districts' budgets. Senate Bill 1 comes up a little short there. We aren't really dealing with the short term, as Senator Corman has said. We are looking to the future. But we're only starting the correction today. Our work is not done because we still have a $70 billion unfunded liability. Senator Brown made a compelling argument about risk management. And that's what Senate Bill 1 is all about. It is about starting the correction. It also includes a provision for managing, or at least hoping to manage, investment managers' fees for the systems going forward, something that the governor and our treasurer has talked about, and something that I think can be facilitated as a result of the passage of Senate Bill 1 if it gets signed into law. So for me, Mr. President, I don't think this bill goes far enough. I don't think it does enough, but I think it does start the correction. And so, as much as I struggle with the fact that we have things that we could do that would save us more money across the same 30-year horizon that this is suggested to save $1.4 billion, despite the fact that I think we could do something that changes the pressure on our school districts in the short term. Unfortunately, Senate Bill 1 actually costs money on the front end. We don't find savings until we get about 20 years out. But nevertheless, the value of starting the correction is enough to compel me to an affirmative vote. So I will be voting yes on Senate Bill 1, but I think it's important to remember that our work is not done with this bill. If it gets signed into law, we are only starting the correction, but we really haven't taken up the real work of dealing with the unfunded liability of over $70 billion. Thank you, Mr. President.